Thank you very much. Of course, the previous presentations were very interesting, and especially the one from Panos Zachariadis was very stimulating about thoughts on the fact whether some regulations make sense or not. My presentation will be from a different perspective, from the service industry, which takes into consideration that once we have certain regulations, we have to fulfill them, we have to meet the requirements, and therefore we have to provide the industry with solutions. Specifically, my presentation will be on scrubbers, but again, talking about scrubbers is not possible to abstain from analyzing at least superficially, the question of alternative fuels. Okay. Of course, these are known, were presented by previous presentations. This also is very well known about the IMO requirements for sulfur abatement and the dates. There is only one thing to change here. This was supposed to be reviewed in 2018, but now it is 2015, as we heard previously, changed. But anyway, the interesting thing of this slide is that this comes from BP, and it's very, very strange that BP shows the way and regarding whether low sulfur fuel will be available in the right quantities and price in the future, and BP itself, and also Shell and other companies, suggested that scrubbers may be a valid alternative. Here we have another, let's say, regulation, presentation of regulations, which says that EU is determined to go ahead irrespectively of what will be decided in 2015 regarding the global cap, which means whether the fuels, the low sulfur fuel will have a maximum sulfur content of 0.5% globally. Now, which are the alternatives for meeting the regulations? Of course, is to burn low sulfur fuels. The other one is to use LNG as fuel, and the third is to use scrubbers, continuing to burn heavy fuel oil. Of course, cold ironing refers to the situation in the harbors. Of course, each one of the alternatives have advantages and disadvantages. First of all, talking about low sulfur. Many people say, why do I have to install a scrubber or change to LNG since I have the option of shifting to low sulfur fuel? What low sulfur fuel we are talking about? Because the low sulfur we know now is 1%. This is not good for the regulations. If actually things do not change and the regulations apply, from 2020, ships will have to burn 0.5% low sulfur fuel globally in the oceans. This fuel does not exist. And we don't know whether it's going to exist, whether the refineries will decide to invest in that, which will be the volume, which will be the cost, the price. So then we have, as everybody knows in this room, we had with the low sulfur fuel, the one we have now, in many cases we have technical problems regarding lubricity and viscosity. And many companies had to invest money with coolers or even chiller units to reduce the temperature of the fuel, of the low sulfur fuel in the engine room in order to have sufficient viscosity to be, let's say, handled by by pumps and other devices. LNG, of course, is one of the options, as we said, but there are things to be considered, like logistics. There is no enough, except in specific areas, there is no enough network for bunkering. The problem on board is how to storage. The storage is a big problem because the storage space is very big. It takes away part of the space for the cargo. And of course, the supply system, the technology for the storage and the supply system to the engine of LNG fuel is still under development. And of course, there is the big problem of methane slip. As Panos Zachariadis said before, methane is an even more dangerous greenhouse gas than CO2, many times more. Of course, we have the alternative of exhaust gas cleaning systems with two, again, sub-alternatives, water scrubbers and dry scrubbers. And this technical solution can cover at least part of the needs for meeting the requirements. This slide is very well known, has been shown in many presentations, shows the need of distillate fuels in case the industry decides to go for low sulfur fuel. We can see, after 2020 how much low sulfur of 0.5, the pink color is 0.5%, is a huge quantity required. And again, it's a question whether it will be available, the right quantity. Here says the same things, and there are many key issues or questions here listed. How are the shipping and bunker industries reacting to the inexorable move towards lower sulfur fuels in ECA and globally? Will emission control areas spread further? How could this change the picture? Because it is true what Panos Zachariadis said before, that it makes sense mainly in ECAs, so close to the populated areas, to go for taking measures for SOx. But the highly populated areas are not the only the ones which have been designated as ECAs now. There are going to be more. So practically, after a few years, maybe the whole shipping will be affected, not only shipping which navigates in the today ECAs. Here, as I said before, we cannot talk about solutions if we don't see the numbers. I have taken from two different sources prices, today prices for fuel. You see, for example, what I said before, when we are talking about 0.5% low sulfur fuel, is not available. It's not in the list. It's not available. The only one known is the 1%. The 1% here, which, as we see, has a premium of approximately $300 compared to MGO. Because if the shipping industry does not take measures in time, this means that at the end of the day, who decide to shift to low sulfur fuel, practically, this is a decision equivalent to deciding for burning marine gas oil. Since marine gas oils will not be available in the quantities required, they are going to burn diesel oil. This is, to my opinion, the alternative. Here there are the forecasts for prices. Of course, we see that LNG is going to be the less expensive fuel in the future, but we have the other, let's say, problems, technical problems to be resolved before LNG fuel is applied on ship. But then you see that between the heavy fuel oil and the marine diesel oil, there is still a $300 premium, which, if we make a calculation of return on investment, can show to the interested company whether it is worth investing into installing a scrubber or not. Here, there is no enough supply of gas oil, so we might see diesel ending up in the 0.1%. If we want to decide to burn diesel when entering the ECAs in the future, then okay, but we have to be ready to do that. This is a return on investment calculation made for a ship of 10 megawatt installed power. The assumption is to operate approximately 80% in the ECA, in ECAs, and we see that with the today prices and the today differences in fuel costs, here you see this 314 difference in fuel prices. It comes out the return of investment time, the payback period is approximately 1 year. Of course, if a vessel spends 20% in ECA, this means that the payback is 4 years. Still may be the case. This is another calculation, officially from Intertanko. There is only one misleading figure here, because this is based on $4 million for a scrubber, which is not the case. With 2 million, including installation, you can do that. So whatever you see here, the payback time, you have to divide by 2. And this calculation, if you divide by 2, it comes to the same result of the previous calculation, because with 300 premium of the difference between the cost of the fuels compared to the diesel oil, marine diesel oil, we see that the return of investment for, let's say, 30% or 25% in the ECA means that in 5 to 7 years you have your payback period. So, in conclusion, I would say that if the remaining life of a vessel is less than 10 years, there is no meaning of investing anything on new equipment. But if you have at least 15 years, from 10 to 15 years, then scrubber might be a solution. If the remaining life is more than 15 years, which means that the vessel is new building or has been delivered 3, 4, 5 years before, then LNG might be an option. Okay, this is a comparison. Here are a few figures showing the volume of scrubbers, which is maybe the only let's say, disadvantage of the scrubbers is the volume and in some cases the weight. Otherwise, it makes sense for vessels of having more than 10 years of age to invest in this. The last pictures show applications, show the technology is already there. It's not a mature technology, 100%, but you have a lot of companies who invested into scrubbers with various companies. And so this is food for thought. Thank you very much.